it's like a second half of a match. So it's not very usual and very common to play a back-to-back match in a championship, but it happened, and due to the compromises that we also have in other competitions. But it's never easy to make it, because you always have to try to bring something new on the match, so that that you don't get you don't fall on the same things that happened in the previous one. I think we made a very good match away, considering the conditions that we had to play, considering the dimensions of the pitch. We controlled the match very well, so it was a very good starting point for us to understand what we wanted to bring today on the pitch. We moved slightly one or two pieces in terms of positioning, in order to be capable to avoid some of the, especially the man-to-man marking, because there was a lot of man-to-man marking, as you could understand from the interview of the coach after the match that we play away. And we had to try to find how to break that man-to-man defensive organization. I think we were quite okay. We created a lot of mobility. We had the possibilities to take the ball from one side to the other, avoiding some of the more crowded zones, despite we had in the first half 4 or 5 passes in the center that we should avoid in order to not receive counterattacks out of there. Some corrections at halftime. Obviously, leading 1-0 always is important, despite I felt that we dropped a little bit the energy after scoring, so we should have, or probably try to keep the pace in order to find immediately a second goal. But the message at halftime was well received. We clarified some things. It was possible to see some of the spaces that we were not using. We were using, but not with the speed that we needed, because spaces, they exist, but suddenly they are closed. So we needed to use them when they were still open. I think that arriving on the second goal took us to a more open game from the opponent, so leaving that defensive positioning and allowing us obviously to expose them in more quick actions where the quality of our players appeared, and then with the refreshment of the team we could keep the pace and go for some more things. So very happy with the game. And in an important day in Portugal is the Mother's Day, so this one is for my mother and for my wife, the two special women on my life, and for the boys and for all the fans that were here with us, for the players and all the fans that were here with us. I think that it's obviously important to have the comfort. When I came in, I was watching the energy outside, and it's really marvelous to see how we can also give energy to the people that support us, and through our performance make them happy. So this is a mutual relation where we get energy, we give energy, and we live together. I hope that in the next matches that we play home also we have this and more people cheering us, pushing us forward, because we need that energy, no doubts.
Matthews has come under lots of scrutiny, maybe for the positions that he gets in, not even convincing sometimes.
Look, I think I understand the question, but I don't see ever. Obviously, we would like to have our wingers, our strikers, to make many more goals, because obviously as many goals you get, the more close you'll be to victories. But I don't relate with the moment that one doesn't score or the other. I always try to see how they impact the performance of the team. And the performance of the team can be impacted by obviously output that comes from goals or assists, but can come from diverse actions on the game that also allow others to use spaces and use opportunities, and from there also give a second assist or a further assist pass. Or it's the implication of the players on the dynamic of the team that for me is very important, and Tashrik is very important on that. Like all the others, they understand a lot what we want to bring and adapt to different dynamics. Tashrik was a player that in the previous match he was sacrificed a lot because he was not 100% in conditions, and we even put him to play from the bench, and he became important on those minutes he played. So I'm pretty happy with the performance from him. I think he made in the last Champions League match, and I told him the best Champions League match I saw from him. So we look forward for what we have ahead more than relate with here and then on scoring a goal, because that is not an issue. The important is how he fights every day to be able to play how we want and give the team what we need from him, and he does it consistently. So that's basically the question here.
Next question, please do remember to introduce yourself.
Congrats, Coach. Born Tinkulu from Briefly SA News. Coach, you haven't been scoring much in previous matches, but today you managed to score 3 goals. How satisfied are you with your attackers?
Look, you see how teams play narrow. It's not easy to score goals when the teams drop so much and sit so low, and especially when you play away, that the pitches have the grass very big. They are not really properly watered, so the conditions for the quality of the game are very reduced, and that is also consistent on our away matches, as you can see. Obviously today also our grass was quite high, even more than normal, but we watered it because it was intentional, because we need to protect the pitch. The pitch was quite destroyed, so we have to let it grow, because there's small grass growing below, so that we can have the good end of season in the matches we have ahead. So look, I think it's important that there are moments on the season that the teams try to close us so much that indeed you need to focus on the results, and I think the team has been quite consistent. So unfortunately we had two draws, but I think we have a long series of good matches, and we need now to look ahead. There's another one on Wednesday, then will be another one on the weekend, so we need to be consistent and continue to win. That is the most important thing, so that we can continue to score points, and then in the last match probably of the championship, see what is going to happen.
Yeah, Coach Enes from Kickoff. Just to ask about Mvala, how far from him getting back into the team, and then also how important was this win for your attack aspirations?
Look, Motobi is training with the team, quite not for a long time full, but for basically almost 1 week. Obviously that considering the long term of stop that he has, there's not only his return to train, but his return to performance. That is another thing. Because we would love so much, obviously, to have everybody available. As you might imagine, today you saw, and goes along with the previous question, or in the direction of the previous question, when you have more availability of players, and you have players that can come on the pitch and make a difference, obviously, especially in attack, obviously for us is more simple. Motobi is a very important player in the locker room. He's a very important player for us in terms of what we see. He's a leader. He's a high profile and character. I love him so much, but I think we should not put too much pressure on him coming to pitch to play. It's important to give him the proper conditions, so that when he comes, he really comes and settles down, because as you know, this kind of procedures and recovery, if you don't take them really with the patience and it can be, and the setback would be dramatic. So we don't want that to happen. So let's stay in peace and let him train consistently, and from there we'll move for sure.
Coach Lorenzo from Italy Times, congrats on the win. Nuno Santos is obviously back after a few games injured. How important will his presence in the squad be? Obviously, we saw Saleng drop out of the squad with Santos coming in. Is that just now competition, or is there another setback of injury of some sort?
No, there's no competition, because there's space for all of them. I think if you take a look on the medical report, it's clear Saleng could not be available to be lined up or called up even. When we were in the previous match on the warm-up, he didn't feel good, so he was on the bench, but he could not even play. When we felt that he was not okay, or when he complained that he was not okay, we could not substitute on the match sheet, so it was already late. So he was on the bench, but he could not be lined up on the previous match. Then obviously he's under treatment. Nuno made his last steps of his recovery, and we had a chance to bring him in, not because they compete for whatever, but we work with what we have available. One thing I'm gonna tell you guys, you must, as much as a coach can work, and how much clever or call him good or whatever, he will depend always on the quality of his players available. And when we have all the quality players available, we are stronger. We are stronger. And myself and my staff, we are stronger. And unfortunately, in some moments of the season that we didn't have those resources available, probably we lost points that we could not and we should not. But that comes obviously on the direction also of some of the things that I've been stating regarding the number of matches that we play, and especially in the period of time that we play. Because the AFCON this season and some of the competitions that we have here in South Africa also crowd too much the calendar, especially for a team that plays the Champions League up to the end. It's quite difficult and quite tricky. But it's our reality and we are happy to have it. Of course, it's a privilege that we have to manage. We know that on the way there will be people falling, people rising up, and let's see who we can have ready for the next one and focus on the next one. That's why there's no thoughts on the coach that is under these circumstances on too much ahead rather than the next match. So from now, we focus on Wednesday and understand who will be able to recover, who will be able to be lined up, how many minutes we should give to this and to that, and manage the games from there. And obviously, don't take nothing on the ambition, don't take nothing on the quality we need to put, and mostly on the compromise that we have to have, because we are 3 matches out of the end of the competition, so there's no space for nothing more than getting points and points and points, and then see it in the end.
We'll take the last 2 questions. Soms, then.
Leonard Soms, ESPN Africa. Coach, a follow-up on Tashreeq. During that period when he was getting criticized, mid to late last year, was there a point at which you pulled him aside, had a word with him, and helped him bring his confidence back, or do you think the confidence perhaps came from you simply continuing to select him even when the pressure was on?
No, first of all, I don't know that he was criticized because I never got that information. I don't read basically opinions from people. I don't relate with that, so I didn't know. For us inside the club, he was never criticized. We usually don't criticize our players. We support whenever we feel that there's one or other that is not performing, and then we support and we give love to them. And we look. I'm a coach that focus much more on what he has ahead rather than on. It's not really, I think, the way to deal with players that here and then can have a not so good match. What we know is the potential of a player, and it's always towards the potential of a player that we work. We know what he's capable to do. If he's not right there, obviously we try to address the questions and but not making it a question on. I think that happens with many players, to have fluctuations throughout the season when you play 50 matches. It's normal that there will be fluctuations on the performance of the players. That's why it's important to have a very competitive squad, where here and then when one drops, the other one can come. And that's basically how you manage, of course, mostly by speaking with the players in general. Sometimes we talk with everybody, sometimes we talk with individually, sometimes we talk with group. But mostly we show frontally, honestly, because the players need to see whatever they do. We show honestly with the intention that is positive, is making them better. And when players understand that everything we do with them is to make them better, usually they relate quite well with that. We don't criticize. We show what we can do better, and we work to make them better. And they don't have name for that. It happens with anyone. So, but regarding Tashreeq, I don't really know what happened. If there's something happened, I don't know.
We'll take the last question from Magona.
Coach, 5 points clear now with 3 games to go. Is this the most sort of the ideal situation that you would like going into the run-in now? Because essentially your fate is in your own hands.
I think we need to score all the points we have ahead. It's a story to be written, and we have to do it so that if we want to succeed 100%, because then we can depend on the others, of course, and we should not. We should just focus on ourselves. There's a match that is like the ones we've been playing high level, because we are in a moment that all matches become high level, and relate with the situation and try to make as best as possible. It's a big, beautiful challenge ahead, of course, because basically it's almost a 1 week and a half, and everything will be finished. So it looks 3 matches, but it's 1.5 weeks. And we need to be very, very, very strong on the way we approach every match, like we've been trying to be, and I think quite consistently showing that. So that's where we need to continue to be. Match by match, day by day, managing contexts and trying to be performance as much as possible.
Coach, there are two hands asking if you want to talk about the match on Wednesday or...
No, I just should focus on the previous one, because as you may imagine, the last days I did nothing more than focus on Polokwane City. I saw absolutely nothing from Kaizer Chiefs. Obviously my people is working on that, so tomorrow morning for sure, or even today night, I'm going to start to work on that. But it's a match. It's a match to be played with all respect by everybody. Obviously, it's a match that is quite a big match in South Africa, so we have to go for it and try to make it in the best way so that we can get the points, because we need the points to proceed. That's it. So the objective is the same. The way we're going to work through, there's not a lot of time, so we have 2 days and we are playing. For sure, you may imagine that for us the recovery process is the most important. They didn't play for a long time, so since Pirates I think they don't play. What means that they come with full energy, and we will be also with full energy for sure. That's a good match ahead. Let's go for it.
Thank you. That was a good preview, Coach. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.